Hi, everyone. My name is Bee, and welcome to Be the Connection, where we share stories of community, mentorship, and success. And today's guest, we have Chris, who is in TC, my realm, which I love. And of course, also buy and holder. He has over 135 doors. I mean, I'll let him tell you a little bit about his background. Tell us, what do you have going on, who you are, share with the world what's going on.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, thanks for having me, Bree. I love the name. Oh my God. It just makes sense for the name. Oh, that's amazing. I think this is going to be something for you. I know I've been a buzz about it. So kudos to you. And I'm a huge support.
Thank
Is what
you.
Chris James. Who is Chris James?
Yes, we wanna know.
If I go back from the beginning, just more so, I come from a hospitality restaurant industry. That was my bread. I love cooking. Put me up in a competition. That's me all day.
Yes, I love it.
So I was a director operator for about 10 years. And, COVID hit in 2019, going to 2020. And, when the world shut down. And that's when I really transitioned into the real estate world. And yeah, I joined many mentorships, such as, of course, SubTo, Cody Spurber, Clever Investor. I can go down the list. I'm in many more. However, it's just the fact of I was really trying to find my niche. And it took me a while to find it because I wanted to do what everyone else was doing. And I was trying to find exactly what excites me. And I couldn't find that. I thought for the moment, wholesaling at the specific time that excite me, but in all reality, it didn't. It was just to get by, make a way, pay another bill, if that makes sense.
Yes. As
And
Pace Morby says, it's diaper money, right?
absolutely, absolutely. As a TC and as a fellow TC, the reason I even got into TC because I did so much wholesaling at this specific time back in 2020, going into 2021, when I established my company in 2021. I was excited. I was buying my first property. I got a TC involved. I got an attorney involved at the time. Attorneys, know everything. Get an attorney. They know everything. They're going to guide you in the right direction. And I was excited because I reached out to a gentleman named Jory Austin, another SubTo student, fellow SubTo student who's very close friends with Pace Morby as well. And I reached out to him and I said, hey, Jory, attorney, we opened up escrow just like a normal transaction, submitted EMD. Now, mind you, this specific property was a subject to. There's a subject to transaction, and I was excited because I'm taking down my first subject to transaction,
Yes.
first property. I got a story to tell. I did it, and 3 weeks later, things were going smoothly. Things were looking right. We signed documents. Everything was going right. We closed on the property. I'm excited. I'm, telling people I closed on my first subject to property.
Got the keys, take the picture.
Yeah, whole 9 yards. Now, mind you, just give you a little context. The wholesaler brought this deal to us. They paid $10,000. The seller is actually getting about 5,500 bucks closing clause plus this property. This is a key. It was in foreclosure.
Yes.
Receive a phone call from the seller saying, "Hey, Chris." Now his name is William, and I say, "Hey, how's everything?" Your wife's still on vacation because the money they utilized, they needed a vacation due to their situation. And he said, yeah, we actually just came back home. However, I got a check in the mail. Now the check was for $22,647. That was the arrears for the property. I'm like, okay, this is week like 4, 5. Now auction, I know for a fact the property was a couple weeks ago. I'm trying to put this puzzle together. I'm like, wait a minute. And now, mind you, the check is in his name. William could easily cash that check and went about his business. I would have never knew. However, I was very thankful. I was very
Yes,
blessed that he said he reached out because any other seller, you just never know what they could have done with that check.
exactly.
And he reached out and he said, what do you want me to do? I said, hold on to the check. Let me make a few phone calls. I'm green. I don't know nothing about TC and I don't know not a single thing about
Mhm.
what that looks like. So I reached out to a jury who's a partner on this specific asset. And I said, hey, the seller received the foreclosure funds, the reinstatement funds, so to speak. And he said, what do you mean? I said, yes, he received the reinstatement funds. So he said, okay, let me give you a call back and do a little bit of due diligence. I call the attorney. Attorney's not answering the phone. And I'm like, of course, this office, the time I really need them, no one's answering. And they're in a meeting, they're in a closing. Of course, right? Of course, this
Yes.
is really happening. And it got to a point where, tell me why I went online. We don't own this property.
Oh,
It was sold at auction to a third party.
wow.
Sold at auction to the third party. Now, at the time, I didn't know what to do. I just felt like I just lost my partner's funds. I didn't put a single penny into it.
Yeah.
I'm guilty now. This man just brought in 40 to $45,000 as an entry just to take down this property. Do you really think the wholesaler is going to give you the money back that we don't really know?
No.
Not at all. Wholesaler didn't even answer our call.
My goodness. Because
So
to
we
him,
did
that was a good deal. Can already see it from a TC's perspective, like, "Oh my goodness." Like, check the HUDs, check the HUDs. Like, you get to see the numbers where exactly everything's going and ensuring that everything goes where it needs to be.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah, and from that point on, I even reached out to Pace Morby. Before I reached out to Pace Morby, I shot him a text. He actually did a Zoom that following Saturday. If you're sub to like those your followers there that's going to watch you in the future, if you are in the sub to community, if you go back around 2021 era, I know it's been a long time, but you'll see in that specific vault case studies of literally that
yes.
at the time, I didn't have the money to pay him back, like my partner back, because he brought in all the capital. I felt guilty. Although I knew it wasn't my money, I felt guilty. So after that, the weekend, it was just really, I felt so guilty about the whole thing. I reached out to the jury. I said, what can I do? I said, do I got to just wholesale you some deals without any money? And he said, it's Chris, it's real estate. I understand things happen. I'm like, $40,000 may not be a lot to you. It's a lot to me. But
Yeah.
little things. And I guess to make a long story long,
It's okay.
a couple of key takeaways I took away from there is more so when you're dealing with a foreclosure, stop mailing checks. Stop mailing
Yes.
checks. Make sure it's wired. First and foremost. Second thing, always, as you mentioned, B earlier, double check your HUD statements.
Mhm.
Although you have a transaction coordinator involved, double check it. It's okay for checks and balances. You're not
Yes.
offending the TC at all. A lot of people think they're offending the TC when they're questioning it. No, no, no. I want you to ask me 101 questions to make sure there's no hiccups in the future.
Yes. Yes.
and the last thing was more so accountability. The attorney didn't take accountability. Attorney played the blame game. Well, I just follow what the TC told me to do.
Mm.
So you as an attorney, I'm not going to go back and blame the TC. I'm not going to blame you anymore. I can't blame anyone but myself because I should have did a little bit of due diligence, although I counted on an attorney to take care of the file. And from that day forward, following week, I was studying in the vault. I was doing a lot of different things as far as how do I become a successful transaction coordinator. And that's where
Yes.
everything kind of started. And it got to a point where I just kept learning and learning and understanding exactly what that really looks like on a scale from state to state, not just state to state, but county to county, because there's a lot of different things that people don't realize. You can't just because you master it in Florida, it's not going to be
Correct.
the same in Alaska.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Completely agree.
So yeah, now it brings me to 2025. I got a team of 14 now, and I'm super excited.
That's amazing. So tell me more about this TC business because obviously you got experience, you were excited, you did wholesaling, you wanted to buy and hold, but now okay, TC is it. Obviously that whole transaction just flipped it for you. And I mean, a team of 14, how has that been?
It's been amazing. The culture I built, I feel like I built this amazing culture. It started with, of course, me, but at the same time, I can't take 100% credit. I can't. It was myself. Then I brought in someone else who was more so integratorish, I should say. They love to kind of put
Mhm.
things into place. I'm definitely a bit visionary, but I do got integration tendencies, I should say.
Yes.
So it was just us two after like 4 or 5 months, and I'm like, okay, business is starting to pick up. We got two options. We can continue taking on business and, it's all about the money then, or are we going to really look at the user experience? What do we really need to do to make sure the user experience is there? So we had to build out the team. And then it got to a point where I said, okay, I need an operations manager.
Mhm.
I'm trying to scale this in the right direction. And then that's when I hired Angel Miller. She did a phenomenal job. She took it and ran with it. She was a third person in the company. Yeah, third person in the company. And then I explained exactly what the vision was. I let her know exactly, okay, this is where we need to be in 3 years, 5 years, 6 years, and all these good
Yeah.
things. Just because at the end of the day, if they don't know,
Mhm.
then how can they really help you scale and achieve what you're looking for? And not just that, if they don't understand your vision, in all reality, it's going to be very difficult for them to make money as well.
Yes.
And a lot of times people like to grow, but they really don't have a plan of action. They're just like just going, going, going. But it's just, they're going here, they're going this way. They're just they're hitting all these different walls without some kind of system in place. And when we brought on Angel, she implemented that. And it feels great as an owner. Like you seeing all these transactions close, all this the money's going in an account. Then I'm like, okay, this is great. I actually took 2 months to look at. I'm like, okay, it's great. We had a lot of success. We have clients that's doing 10 to 15 deals a month. However, we need to really assess that.
Mhm.
Are we just pushing files now, or are we giving them the experience they deserve? So we
Yeah.
actually had to take a step back and like, okay, let's hold off on taking any more files. Literally, every client that we have, we need to reach out to them. Let's have a conversation and see what could we done better. Even if you think everything went right, you just
Yes.
never know what someone's thinking. That's what I just love about our culture. It's just the fact of they understand that even if you think something is wrong or if something is right, then just automatically assume something is wrong because you sometimes you can't just read somebody's brain. So no, it's been phenomenal, and it gave me the opportunity to scale my business to where it's at today. Well, actually, so we made about the first year, I think 2021 going to 2022. It was just myself, and then it brought on somebody else. So 2022, that was the first year. We made about $180,000, and I'm like, okay, that's great. That's phenomenal. And I'm like, okay, we made about $180,000, but is that great or is that not good?
Mhm.
Stabilizing that, what does it really look like? And then we went into 2023, we actually declined. 100 is we went to around 155, 160. And the reason I'm just being transparent and vulnerable with you
Yeah,
guys.
of course. That's what I want. That's what I want. I want to make sure because I want listeners to know that it's not all sunshine and rainbows, that, whether if it's our losses, our wins, it all ties in together. You can't have success without some type of failure.
Absolutely.
So,
When we hit that 150 to 160 mark, I'm like, okay, what happened here? And then we had same amount of clients, but we realized the price. Where people are coming to us because of price. At the time, I kid you not, our price, you're talking about $600 for a SubTo file. You're,
yeah.
you're talking about six, seven. Like it got to a point like, okay, we may lose some clients. Typical to lose clients if we raise the prices. However, we can ensure that the experience is going to be there because
Yes.
at the end of the day, you may have 10 clients at the 600 mark versus if you have five clients at the maybe $1,000 mark. That's going to make up for everything, and it's going to be
Yes.
worth your while, your time, your energy. At the end of the day, a lot of people think becoming a TC, you just in all reality, you got a computer, you have Wi-Fi, but sometimes you're behind that computer and Wi-Fi
Yes.
for many, many hours.
Yes. It's like being in a room, and like for me, it's like the studio. And so when I finally get to go out to eat lunch with the family or like just go outside, I'm like, oh, there's daylight.
Absolutely, absolutely. You face your obstacles, you're having some good days and bad days. It's just more so having the right team near you to really not just I just face those challenges with you because at the end of the
Yes.
day, every deal is not the same. Everyone thinks, oh, it's a sub 2
No.
deal, but we
And I'm
don't
sure
know.
you've seen your share of stories and all types of things as we do.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's when you bust out the popcorn and just wait and just see what happens next, right? It's like because you kind of prepare yourself. Yes.
The same time, it's not in all reality a Mormon method, the way he structured it.
Mm.
So
Yep.
little things like that, they may have a basic understanding, maybe watching YouTube, YouTube University,
Yes.
as people call it. But once you get down to the nitty gritty of what that looks like, it could be a different ball game, and then they start to realize why we charge what we charge, and or what that looks like on the scale. What we actually, in all honesty, we turn a lot of people away due to the fact of it'd be a waste of time because we know it's not going to get to the finish line.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's not like we're trying to pick and choose, but we try to protect our time and make sure
Yes.
the user experience there for other people where we're just dragging this deal. We know it's not going to close.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. And then it's not just saving time, but you're really preserving your company's integrity, your service for what it is that you do. And as a TC, right, knowing your value as a TC, as the company, that in itself brings that person and their deal more value. Like, what is it that they need to go back and look at, right? Underwriting, especially underwriting, always, always, always. And so, yeah, you definitely want to see, okay, hey, I don't think this is quite it, but you know what? Perhaps the next one. And that way that gets them the sense like, oh, you know what? they're not just wanting to just take my money, or they're not just wanting in for that's part of the service that you mentioned, right? How are we treating them? How are we able to share the knowledge that we have with them? And that's one thing I really, really appreciate, because a lot of people I know notice that with TCs that they're so expensive, you know? And I remember there was once one comment that was made in the free community group, right? I mean, this person was not well, but and he was like, "I hate TCs. Like, they were never around, back then. And why do they feel like they're entitled?" And it's like, it's funny. So my husband and I, we thought about it and we're like, like telephones weren't invented back then either, but we use them to communicate. Like computers, everything his whole business is running on wasn't invented back then. I'm sure, was door knocking. He was in person, everything. And even now, you're in a community following a person of success who is very well known in the industry, who has a dedicated team of TCs to help scale his business. And you don't want one, or you don't like them? It's like, and all we can do is provide that education, because a lot of them are misguided. And it's not just creative, it's traditional as well.
Because if that specific client knows the value of a TC, they don't truly care about the price. They care about the deal getting done and getting to the finish line successfully and and the way it should be getting done.
Yes.
Because ultimately you're going to be wasting a lot more money longevity wise. And a lot of people don't see that. And that's one thing I love about being a TC, because I see everything. I see everything. I know who's a true buyer. And I know I know who's
Yes.
actually a private money lender who actually legitimately like is going to get the deal done, versus you may see 4 different documents, but don't show this person. No, I'm not just trying to say do you need a TC for every transaction. That's your preference. That's your preference.
Yes.
However, if you were looking to scale, I highly recommend you get a TC to
Yes.
help streamline your process.
And that's so good. 'Cause I know, so this was back then where you were like, $500, right? But at the same time, you were just starting. This was also a few years ago. And so as time went on, you scaled. You had to increase your prices in order to scale, in order to grow your business. And do you see the difference also now with a lot more TCs? Because there is a lot more of us now, newbies walking in and are like, "What do I do?" But then they're charging the same amount, and I've never done that file before. And so I feel like also clients are kind of like, "Well, what am I paying for? I could just pay for this instead." So what do you do in those times when when you hear that from a client?
Tell our clients, even before I said, whether you go with us or not, we always recommend you do your due diligence. No ifs or buts about it. They may have a fancy website, they may have a fancy logo and all that good stuff, but still do your due diligence. It's
Yes.
okay for you to vet the TC,
Mhm.
and it's okay for the TC to vet the client. It works both
Yes.
ways, because initially you got to see if it's going to be a good fit. You have to understand your communication structure, and you have to understand the expectations from that TC. Maybe the TC, which is rare, but you never know. Maybe the TC doesn't like to use email.
Yeah.
You just never know. But just understanding, we set expectations for our clients. Like, hey, we want you to go interview 2 or 3 more, just to see which one works for you. We may not be a good fit for what you're looking for. Although we may
Yes.
be charging $1,800 for this, you may have find a TC that's in your budget right now for a
Mhm.
thousand bucks. I don't know. However, we always let them know diligence, and a lot of times they do come back to us, and or the one that just happened a couple weeks ago over in Florida, uh, they did go to another TC, and the fact of the transaction was messed up, and then they had to pay almost twice because it was
Wow.
3 days
Yeah.
before closing, and you expect us to stop what we're doing and not charge the rush
Yes.
fee and all this other stuff. And unfortunately, that we had to do it. Had to do. So you did have 2 TCs on the HUD statement and all that good stuff, and but paperwork was correct.
Yeah. That's the most important part. So, is making sure that's correct, right? And I think that's also why you vet your TCs. I think that's a great thing to do, is knowing, do you have experience in this? And, if not, what is your plan in order to get this across the finish line? I think it's so important. I feel you. The passion that I love for being a transaction coordinator, I knew it when I first joined SubTo, right? And so knowing the intricacies, it's like, okay, being prepared to pivot in all different types of ways in case anything were to come up. So if you don't have, that experience, where can you go to? In the TC world, we can JV with other TCs who have experience and that can help guide us and we can learn along the way. And so doing that is huge. And even in that, you still need to vet that
Yeah.
TC, right? So, but being transparent. It's being transparent and letting them know, look, this is what I offer, this is what I'm gonna do, and go following through with it, right? Showing them this is the proof. This is how successful we are because we deliver it this way. What are some of like the challenges that you faced when trying to grow this business?
Staying top of mind. As you mentioned earlier, you're right. Since we first joined SubTo, I know I joined SubTo when there was only about maybe 1,800 people in there.
Mhm.
Now it's like 16,000, and
Yes.
that's a long time. It's a lot of people, and you're probably looking about maybe 95, 96% of people, 96% of increase of TCs out there now. I'm not going to say they're competition. I'm not going to say because I don't believe in competition. I believe in more so
Operation.
collaboration all day.
Yes.
It's more so top of mind because let's be honest, there's a lot of people that's going to post and say, they're looking for services and or they're looking for whatever they're looking for or they're specializing in. And if you're not on top of mind, I think that could be challenging. That can be very challenging. Now, if you have specialties, I think that's a huge thing. As far as back to your original question, any obstacles that we faced and or had, we always had a meeting and say, okay, great guys, we only have about 6 files coming this week. What's going on? Like, what happened? Are we not marketing, or is it a shift, or the rules and regulations changed this week? What happened? Are we not all 100% committed? Like, what's going? And we always have those uncomfortable conversations, not in like a negative way, just more so like, hey, we got to hold each other accountable in order to make sure
Yes.
everyone is on the same page. Now, I do let everyone know specifically, especially within our company, that if you ever feel like the pressure's on you and you can't handle a file and or a certain amount of files, let us know. One thing I do love about our company, and just to touch on a couple things you mentioned earlier about price points. Last week, just to give you an example, I'm very thankful where we did have a consult. We had a half an hour consult. It was a big commercial unit, whatever that looks like. We told him the price point. We told him flat out it's going to be $22,000. He didn't push back. He didn't ask why. And those the kind of clients you want to have. He asks us flat out, have you ever worked on something like this before? Those are the questions you need. That's him betting us. And he has every right to. I can't get upset. I'm not gonna get offended and say, oh, you can't ask me that question. But for him not to budge or ask questions like, well, why so much? That's a client who knows his worth, not his own worth, but just the fact of he understands the value of a transaction coin.
That's huge as a TC is your network, the relationships around you, and just building those, right? And so in the relationship, how has that played a role for you guys?
Referrals are everything for us. Referrals are everything. It really got to a point where agents are reaching out to us to help do their files and all that good stuff. And it all 95%, well, 90% of our business is referral based and relationship based. I'm glad you mentioned relationship, not just transactional. Now, have we lost clients in the past because of user experience? Absolutely. We did correct it. We had a meeting about it, what not to do next time. And in all honesty, I haven't spent a single penny of any marketing in almost 4 years now.
That's amazing.
Got to a point where I just understand people. At the end of the day, everyone's different. Everyone's raised differently. Everyone has a different story. And as you mentioned in the beginning, that uh, about vulnerability. A lot of clients, sometimes that's not their style to be vulnerable, and that's okay. That's okay. However, you need to build that trust with them so they can start to be vulnerable with you in the future. And it starts with one transaction at a time. And as I personally started doing transactions and understanding that the more transparent I was, the easier the transaction became.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Those are always the most beautiful ones where they're just upfront, honest. Okay, cool. We can work with this, rather than trying to be like we got to play detective or something. So, yeah.
They tell me it's their stories about other TCs and how they don't respond. And I said them many, 101 questions. And honestly, my go-to, and I feel like this is true. No one has stopped me yet. I really feel like this is the truth. If I'm the client and I'm reaching out to a TC via email to ask specific questions, if they take few days to get back to you, they're looking for that answer.
Yes.
And that's okay if you respond back and let them know, hey, John Doe, actually let me go talk to the team and get back to you or something like that. Just don't ignore the client when they
Yes.
have questions because that's when they get skeptical. They put in that hard earned money, whether it's $1 or $1 million, no matter what dollar amount it is, they invested in you. So they need a response. Now,
Awesome. Yeah, and so building those relationships. So for someone out there, not particularly TCing, but just in general, they're building their business. They're starting to get that influx of clients and building that relationship with them. And so for someone who is trying to figure out, okay, well, what's the best way to network? What would you tell 'em?
in my humble opinion, you have as a TC, you have to put yourself out there. You have
Yes.
to. Have to. A lot of people think you could be the guy behind the scenes, but as a TC, it's very difficult if you don't show your face.
Yes.
People have to know who they're working with,
Hmm.
who's behind the company. Now, if you scale to a point where you don't necessarily have to show your face, that's great. You reached a different milestone. For TCs, you got to put yourself out there and let people know what you're doing. And if
Yes.
you don't let them know, they don't know.
Yes. Beautiful. I love that you mentioned that. Oh man, that's so good. And so what you're mentioning too, there is definitely room for both people on your team and BAs to assist them in growing their side of the business, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They've been they've been they've been they're underrated. Let's just say that they're underrated. All my admin is done by a VA. All my marketing is done by a VA. The emails that go out is done by a VA. A lot of my responses, all honesty, is done by a VA. I especially on the TC side, like if you get a VA who understands just the basic knowledge of a transaction coordinator or just documents, or maybe just plug and play. It could be simple documents in DocuSign, for instance. If they know how to utilize it, know how to send documents, that can buy you back so much time. You could be
Yes.
going to the store, going grocery shopping, and somebody may need a cash transaction, a cash document sent out. Why not let a VA do it? Why not? Now,
Or a last minute addendum, right? And it's like,
100%.
man, okay. Yes. Aside from your TC business, you're also an investor throughout this growth process from the industry of food, and then coming into real estate. I mean, really, you've been able to grow a TC business. You've been able to grow your buy and hold portfolio now. How many? You said 135, right? Doors?
We're on target. Let's just say we're on target to 250 doors by the end of the year. Now we will probably most likely surpass that, which is great. That number is essential for us, and that will be announced why. But yeah, we're it gave me the ability to scale in the right direction to really understand exactly how I wanted to maneuver on how to take these properties down. And one thing when looking at if the property's going to be in Florida versus New Orleans versus Texas versus Alaska, which I have properties in all these areas. And sometimes you got to really look at how to really mitigate the risk there. Now, and all, let's be honest, we're in real estate. Risk is everywhere. No matter what
Yes.
you do, we can close it in a trust today, do a sell clause tomorrow.
Yes. Yep.
Everything is
I've
possible.
seen it.
So it just understand exactly what your risk factor is as a operator, an investor, and understanding exactly how to navigate it when it comes.
So, oh man. So for all of this, which is amazing stuff. I mean, I we can go back and forth like all day about TC. Like I love it. What is something that you do on a daily basis that helps you just keep you in that zone and making a difference? Whether it's mindset shift, habit, just what is it that helps you just continue on?
There's days I just want to go to sleep or watch Netflix. I'm like, I'll get to this crap tomorrow. Like I'm not like my show coming on right now.
Yes, it's Sunday night. Hold
Right,
on.
right. And it just I always think about my little one. I think about my little ones and understanding that okay, I don't want them to be raised the way I was raised, and or I don't want them to have to make sacrifices. So that keeps me going as my family. Hope that answers your
I love
question.
it. I love it. Yes, and you're speaking it to an existence, like, with intention. So that's something I've been really, really focused on and learning more about too, is learning how to speak with intention, learning the words that you're saying on a daily basis, and especially when you talk about your business, when you talk about your family, when you talk about your growth, that all adds up. and feeds back into your brain, right? And so you start seeing that. And it's really, really neat. What's some advice that you'd give someone out there, who's just starting out? Like I want to make sure that we're able to reach people who, if they're feeling lost or unsure, just anything that would help them.
There's a reason you're dreaming about the nicer cars. There's a reason you're dreaming about the nicer houses or walking on a sandy beach or something like that. There's a reason for all these things that you're dreaming about that you want. Now it's up to you to make it happen and put it in place. If someone's telling you that it can't happen or it won't happen or you're crazy, remove yourself from around them.
I love it. Thank you. I thank you so much for coming on here and just sharing everything that you've been through and just what's going on. Share with people, how can they get a hold of you, connect with you, and learn more about what you're doing?
Absolutely. So all my socials are the same. It's Chris.James REI. Chris.James REI. You can reach me on Facebook. I'm very active on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. All social medias, I'm the same. TikTok, they're all the same. Now, if you're looking for like just want to reach out and maybe need advice on something, you can just DM me. Shoot me a DM and just let me know. Also let me know where you came from. So if you came from B, that's gotta make sure. So but yeah, just Chris.James REI. I'm always available. And if I don't respond within 24 hours, guys, please ping me. Please say, hey, Chris, I reached out because it will be times where I may potentially thought I responded to a message, which I do it a lot, and I don't. Because a lot of times I may be driving in the car, talking on the phone, and in the middle of trying to complete my task list, but I get distracted and pick up the phone and something else happens. So
Yes.
it's the life we chose and the life we live.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much again, Chris.
Thank you for having
Guys,
me.
this is one cool guy that, gosh, man, we're going to have back on because I know there's so much more that we can talk about, diving into some of the things that we've seen and we've heard and just watch unfold. Thank you so much, Chris. Guys, follow, like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you on the next one.